start recording. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming for this latest installment of Srimad Bhagavatam, the all auspicious, all successful pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the ancient Shastra itself. And so tonight we're reading from chapter 44, which is a culminative chapter in my mind, the killing of King Kamsa. So many of you who have followed us all along, maybe over the past, know that King Kamsa is a pretty bad guy. Okay. And he had done some major atrocities. You're thinking about some atrocities. You don't know anything about atrocities until you study the life of King Kamsa. He's a baby killer. He had children killed, thousands of children killed at the time Krishna appeared. He had no interest in anything but his own selfish purposes and the sustenance of his life, at the exploitation of all of his subjects. And he had major plans to kill Krishna and Balaram. So we know from the previous story, he had sent a Krura, who was a fantastic devotee, to explain all of this to Krishna. And so we're coming forward from that story. Krishna knows now, and they've loaded up. They've gone now to Mathura. They've entered Mathura. There's been many pastimes that have already taken place, and including the killing of the elephant and the wrestlers and so many other things that have happened. The straightening of, is it called Yak? What's her name? Do you remember her name, Maharaj? It's Travakra. That's Travakra. That's her name, Travakra. So straightening her out and taking care of the washerman. So you can go back over these stories at your leisure. But for tonight, we're excited to see how the great demon Kamsa comes to his glorious demise. So we'll start out by chanting together. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Buddhale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devim Gauravani Prachadane Nirvishesha Shingavari Pastyat Yadeshatarane Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Garadhara Srivas Adi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay, so this should be a fairly short evening. I'll start out with text 1. Sukadeva Goswami said, thus addressed, Lord Krishna made up his mind to accept the challenge. He paired off with Chanura and Lord Balaram with Mushtika. Seizing each other's hands and locking legs with each other, the opponents struggled powerfully, eager for victory. They each struck fist against fist, knees against knees, head against head, and chest against chest. Each fighter contended with his opponent by dragging him about in circles, shoving and crushing him, throwing him down and running before and behind him, forcefully lifting and carrying each other, pushing each other away and holding each other down. The fighters hurt even their own bodies in their great eagerness for victory. My dear King, all of the women present, considering the match an unfair fight between the strong and the weak, felt extreme anxiety due to compassion. They assembled in groups around the arena and spoke to one another as follows. The women said, alas, what a greatly irreligious act the members of this royal assembly are committing. As the king watches this fight between the strong and the weak, they also want to see it. What comparison can there be between these two professional wrestlers, with limbs as strong as lightning bolts and bodies resembling mighty mountains, and these two young, immature boys with exceedingly tender limbs. Religious principles have certainly been violated in this assembly. One should not remain for even a moment in a place where irreligion is flourishing. A wise person should not enter an assembly if he knows the participants are committing acts of impropriety. And if, having entered such an assembly, he fails to speak the truth, speaks falsely, or pleads ignorance, he will certainly incur sin. Just see the lotus face of Krishna as he darts around his foe. That face covered with drops of perspiration brought on by the strenuous fight resembles a lotus covered with dew. Don't you see the face of Lord Balaram with its eyes copper red from anger toward Mustika and its beauty enhanced by his laughter and his absorption in the fight? Who would like to read from there? Please take up. Please take it up.
Shall I read a bit?
Please.
Okay. All right. So we're on, because Ramesh is here. Hi there, Ramesh. Canto 10, chapter 44, and we're on text 13. Okay. How pious are the tracts of land in Vraj, for there the primeval personality of Godhead, disguising himself with human traits, wanders about, enacting his many pastimes, adorned with wonderfully variegated forest garlands. He whose feet are worshipped by Lord Shiva and Goddess Rama, celebrate Rama, vibrates his flute, and he tends the cows in the company of Balaram. What austerities must the gopis have performed! With their eyes they always drink the nectar of Lord Krishna's form, which is the essence of loveliness and is not to be equaled or surpassed. That loveliness is the only abode of beauty, fame, and opulence. It is self-perfect, ever fresh, and extremely rare. The ladies of Vraj are the most fortunate of women because with their minds fully attached to Krishna and their throats always choked up with tears, they constantly sing about him while milking the cows, winnowing grain, churning butter, gathering cow dung for fuel, riding on swings, taking care of their crying babies, sprinkling the ground with water, cleaning their houses, and so on. By their exalted Krishna consciousness, they automatically acquire all desirable things. When the gopis hear Krishna playing his flute as he leaves Vraj in the morning with his cows, or returns with them at sunset, the young girls quickly come out of their houses to see him. They must have performed many pious activities to be able to see him as he walks on the road, his smiling face mercifully glancing upon them. Sukadev Goswami continued, as the women spoke thus, O hero of the Bharatas, Lord Krishna, the master of all mystic power, made up his mind to kill his opponent. Out of affection for the two lords, their parents, Devaki and Vasudev, became overwhelmed with sorrow when they heard the women's fearful statements. They grieved, not knowing their son's strength. Lord Balaram and Mustika, expertly displaying numerous wrestling techniques, battled each other in the same way that Lord Krishna and his opponent did. The harsh blows from the Supreme Lord's limbs fell like crushing lightning bolts upon Chanura, breaking every part of his body and causing him more and more pain and fatigue. Furious, Chanura attacked Lord Vasudev with the speed of a hawk and struck his chest with both fists. No more shaken by the demon's mighty blows than an elephant struck with a flower garland, Lord Krishna grabbed Chanura by his arms, swung him around several times, and hurled him onto the ground with great force, his clothes, hair, and garlands scattering. The wrestler fell down dead, like a huge festival column collapsing. Right. If someone else would like to take over.
Yep, please. Who else?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, may I please read?
Yes, please.
Yes. Text 24. Similarly, Mushtika struck Lord Balabhadra with his fist and was slain. Recently, a violent blow from the mighty Lord's palm. The demon trembled all over in great pain, vomited blood, and then fell lifeless onto the ground, like a tree blown down by the wind. Confronted next by the wrestler Kuta, Lord Balrama, the best of fighters, playfully and nonchalantly killed him with his left fist. O king! Then Krishna kicked in Shala's head and tore Toshala in half, and both wrestlers fell down dead. Chanura, Mustika, Kuta, Shala, and Toshala have been killed. The remaining wrestlers all fled for their lives. Krishna and Balram then called their young cowherd boyfriends to join them, and in their company the Lord danced about and sported, their ankle bells resounding as musical instruments played. Everyone except Kamsa rejoiced as the wonderful feat of Krishna and Balram had performed. The exalted Brahmanas and the great saints exclaimed, "Excellent, excellent!" The Bhoja king, seeing that the best wrestlers had all been killed or had fled, stopped the musical performance originally meant for his pleasure and spoke the following words. Kamsa said, "Drive the two wicked sons of Vasudeva out of the city, confiscate the cowherds' property, and arrest the fool Nanda. Kill the most evil fool Vasudev, and also kill my father Ugrasena, along with his followers, who have all sided with our enemies." As Kamsa thus raved so audaciously, the infallible Lord Krishna, intensely angry, quickly and easily jumped up onto the high royal dais. Seeing Lord Krishna approaching like death personified, the quick-witted Kamsa instantly rose from his seat and took up his sword and shield. The sword in hand, Kamsa moved quickly from side to side like a hawk in the sky. But Lord Krishna, whose fearsome strength is irresistible, powerfully seized the demon just as the son of Tarksya might capture a snake. Grabbing Kamsa by the hair and knocking off his crown, the lotus-naveled lord threw him off the elevated dais onto the wrestling mat. Then the independent lord, the support of the entire universe, threw himself upon the king. As a lion drags a dead elephant, the Lord then dragged Kamsa's dead body along the ground in full view of everyone present. O king, all the people in the arena tumultuously cried out, "Oh, oh!" Hare Krishna.
I love that.
Kamsa had always been disturbed by the thought that the Supreme Lord was to kill him. Therefore, while drinking, eating, moving about, sleeping, or simply breathing, the king had always seen the Lord before him with the disc weapon in his hand. Thus Kamsa achieved the rare boon of attaining a form like the Lord's. Kamsa's 8 younger brothers, led by Kanka and Nyagrodaka, then attacked the Lord in a rage, seeking to avenge their brother's death. As they ran swiftly toward the two lords, ready to strike, the son of Rohini, slew them with his club, just as a lion easily kills other animals. Kettle drums resounded in the sky as Brahma, Shiva, and other demigods, the Lord's expansions, rained down flowers upon him with pleasure. They chanted his praises, and their wives danced. My dear king, the wives of Kamsa and his brothers, aggrieved by the death of their well-wishing husbands, came forward with tearful eyes, beating their heads. Embracing their husbands, who lay on a hero's final bed, the sorrowful women lamented while shedding constant tears. Okay. Okay, I guess maybe I'll do this. Alas, O Master, O dear one, O knower of religious principles, O kind and compassionate protector of the shelterless. By your being slain, we have also been slain, together with your household and offspring. O great hero among men, bereft of you, its master, the city has lost its beauty, just as we have, and all festivity and good fortune within it have come to an end. O dear one, you have been brought to the state because of the terrible violence you committed against innocent creatures. How can one who harms others attain happiness? Lord Krishna causes the appearance and disappearance of all beings in this world. He is their maintainer as well. One who disrespects him can never prosper happily. Okay, and then Sukadeva Goswami said, somebody else, please read.
Well, we've
49.
only got 3 left, Maharaj. You might as well finish. You're muted. How did you get muted?
Yeah.
Here you
That's
are.
an interesting question. After consoling the royal laddies, Krishna, sustainer of the worlds, arranged for the prescribed funeral rites to be performed. Wow. Then Krishna and Balaram released their mother and father from bondage and offered obeisance to them, touching their feet to their heads. Devaki and Vasudeva, now knowing Krishna and Balaram to be the lords of the universe, simply stood with folded joined palms. Being apprehensive, they did not embrace their sons. That's in the Bhaktivedanta servant's translation of the chapter.
Isn't that wonderful? It seems shorter than I thought it was for some reason, Ranga. It's 51 verses, but we seem to get through it pretty quickly. So, some of this reminds me of when Ravana was killed. You remember how the wives came out and lamented like that in the same way? And there's other stories like that as well that show that these ladies are very much attached to these demoniac kings, and they're always praying for them, and they feel like their life has been removed as a result of their husband's death in this situation. But at the same time, they had full realization that their husbands deserved it because they were demoniac, they were violent, they were exploiting their own civilization. They were murderous, they were killers. They were the lowest, really, among men. I mean, these people were terrible. It said that whose brother? Oh, Hiranyakashipu's brother, Hiranyaksha, was very fond of sucking blood. That sounds like a vampire to me. Very fond of it. So when you think about how low we could go, uh, we can see that in the lives of these demons and how they're acting and how they have no consideration for society at large or care for anyone. Where on the opposite hand, the Vaishnava is a kind friend to everyone. He's equal and kind to every, not only person, but to every animal. Prabhupada says we wouldn't even harm an ant. One time, Prabhupada was sitting in his room and his servant was called in And Prabhupada was staring on the floor and very quietly. And the servant looked at Prabhupada and said, "Yes, Prabhupada, how may I serve you?" He says, "Maybe you should take him outside." It was a little bug. He looks like he might be hungry. So he took the little bug and placed it outside of Prabhupada's small quarters. This is the kindness of the Vaishnava. No one, the Vaishnava is considered to be a touchstone, a desire tree, because whatever you desire can be had by the mercy of the Vaishnava. Because the Vaishnava can give you Krishna, and Krishna is the source of everything. If you have the source of everything, you also have everything to go with it. That's why at the end of all of these wonderful Bhagavatam stories, when we see that Krishna finally appears in the arena or before as Vaman or whatever it is to Bali, they don't want anything anymore. They've seen the source of everything, and they know that that source is so much more than just the energy that's coming from the energetic. The energetic is the source of all the energy. So once you got Krishna, you got it all. There's really nothing else that you could possibly want. So does anybody have any questions or comments about this? We'll just recap it quickly. It's a very short story really tonight. So we'll probably be finished a little early this evening, which might be unusual for everybody because normally we're here for about an hour and a half or 2 hours. But we have a very nice time talking about Krishna. And that's wonderful. So any comments or questions before I recap this for you real quick? Kamsa, you got anything you want to add right now?
Yeah, Prabhuji, I was just looking up who is son of Taraksya, and it's actually Garuda, Lord Narayan's vehicle, and we know Garuda eats snakes. So it said how Krishna, overpowered Kamsa was like Garuda picking up a snake.
I love that. I love that very much. Maharaj, did you have something? I saw you pop in there for a moment. We saw your holy presence for a second. Now
No,
you
no,
just
just that was to me. It didn't even say he killed him. It was 1 second he was alive, and he tossed him off, and the next second he was dead. And in the little Krishna movie, boy, there's a whole fight, like that and so on. Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't cover much about killing Kamsa. It says he jumps up on the dais and drags him off, even though the Kamsa has his shield and his sword and he's trying to act as if he could fight with Krishna. Krishna simply drug him down, threw him on the wrestling mat, and beat him to death with his fist quickly.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it was not. It does say killed him with his fist. He beat him with his fist.
Okay, I missed that. I
Yeah,
missed that.
and not only did he, once he killed him, he drug him around like a lion. He drug him all over the arena and showed him to everybody. That's why Vasudeva and Devaki were a little apprehensive. It's kind of like Prahlad Maharaj in the story of Nrsingadev. I mean, Nrsingadev's covered with blood and intestines, and from his fathers, and all the demigods are there. Even Lakshmi, everyone's afraid to approach Krishna. And in this case, you can see that Vasudeva and Devaki were very apprehensive because of the enormous amount of violence that just took place. If you think about what happened, Krishna killed Chanura and Balaram killed Mushtika, and then the other ones, Shala, he had his head kicked in. It said his head was kicked in, caved in by Krishna's foot. Then Dushala, Toshala was torn in half by the Lord. Can you imagine seeing this spectacle in the arena? And this is after, all the ladies are over there getting together and having their little gatherings going, how can this be religious? Little tender Krishna and Balaram, whose limbs are weak and their little feet and their hands are so soft, How could it be an equal match? They saw it as an irreligious thing. But Toshala, Dushala, they were all killed in the arena. I think Balaram just smacked him or backhanded Mushtika, and I'm not sure. I think he took his club to Dushala. I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly how he died, but it's a bloody mess. And then Krishna invites all the cowherd boys into the arena to dance. They're all dancing and having a party. Now the Matajis, all the females are like, wow, who knew, right? Who knew Krishna and Balaram were so capable of doing these things? Just like when Krishna entered the arena at Mathura, he simply walked over, took the bow, strung it, snapped it in half, and beat everybody to death with the two sides of the bow. All those personalities who were protecting the bow, that were Kamsa's soldiers, were beaten to death by each half of the bow. So this is violence. You know, we were talking the other day, Maharaj, about Gandhi's version of Bhagavad Gita. And we're sitting there thinking, what? How can you make a violent book non-violent? You can't really do that. Violence is sometimes required in the material world because people act in such a way that Krishna is forced to come and stop them in their tracks as they are harming the devotees. Pritranaya sadanam vinashaya chadushujkam. Dharma samstapanartaya sambhavami yuge yuge. Krishna's coming again and again and again, and he's killing these nasty demons. We see it in the life of Ramchandra. So many wonderful stories. I remember one story in particular where Ram and Lakshman were headed to Sri Lanka, and they came across a monster in the forest. Maharaj, you might remember this monster. This monster had unlimited arms all around, and he was one big gaping mouth filled with teeth. You remember this story? What was the monster's name? Does anybody know? I can't remember the monster's name, but he was grabbing everything. And I'm sorry?
Like Kadamba or something. Yeah.
I think that might have been it. So he was grabbing every animal, every creature that would come, and he would stuff them in his mouth and just chomp them up. Everything was dead around him, just like with Kalia. What a demon. You couldn't even have a bird fly over Kalia's head without it dying. It's such a poisonous situation. Cowherd boys show up, they all die. Even Nanda, they all had to be revived. They all had to be revived by Krishna. So these are great demons. These are great tumultuous stories. In one place it said, what's that old saying? You might remember, Maharaj, maybe Vamsa, you might remember. There's a statement, don't become a devotee of Lord Krishna, because that's when the trouble starts. You know? That's when everything is taken away from you. That Krishna is one who takes away, right? What's that comment, Maharaj? Do you remember that exact comment? I don't remember.
No, I haven't heard specifically.
Yeah.
That.
Well, there's a statement. It says that do not become enamored by Krishna, because that he's going to be the problem for you. So Krishna has been the problem for the demons. And in this case, even the devotees are witnessing all these things and falling into all of these different pastimes of the Lord. Imagine the Samvartika cloud and all Vayu, and everybody's coming, blowing the whole town away. You can't even see the mountains for the valleys anymore. And Krishna's holding this mountain for 7 days. Everybody's underneath it. Imagine the trouble that everybody went through while Krishna was here. But guess what? All of that trouble brought them closer and closer and closer into a loving relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that should be gotten somehow by all means. That's how Bhagavad Gita, it is recommended that by all means one should develop this loving relationship of devotion to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Krishna comes in a wonderful way, and he kills all these demons. Balaram, just tired of doing it, just smacked Mushtika, and his eyes bugged out, fell down dead. Kind of reminds me of the story of Varaha fighting with, let's see, Varaha was fighting with Ranyaksha. And he was fighting with him, and he got tired of fighting with him. And after a while, all the demigods are always worried. Everybody's always worried. Oh no, it looks like Krishna is going to be taken out. And so they're all getting anxiety about it. And Krishna just kind of yawns a little bit and just backhands him, and his eyes bug out and he dies. So this is the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. If Krishna is for you, who can be against you? So in this situation, simple story, this has been a long time coming, the killing of Kamsa. Kamsa is way overdue for it. But one great thing that you can take away from this, that even though that Kamsa was one of the greatest of all demons, killed all of Krishna's siblings, and Balaram's siblings, all of them, and imprisoned him, was going to kill his whole family, his family tree, kill his father, kill everybody, Vasudeva, Devaki, all of that. He wants to kill them all. Even though he did that, Krishna, when he killed him, it says that he was awarded a body like that of the Lord. Did you know that? Did you know that he got a body like Krishna's?
It's like Sarupya liberation, because he was always thinking of that form.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, sleeping.
That's exactly right.
Other thing I was mentioning is that, Kamsa may have been thinking, yeah, I'm really bad. I caused all these problems. I killed all these people, everything else. I'm a real big devil. But Krishna kills him, and then it's like he does a funeral sacrifice for him. He consoles his wives and everything else. And it's like he doesn't even give it any kind of, we're not even going to remember what you did, fella. It was nothing. It was nothing. Forget it, You're not, yeah.
And Ram did that too, by the way. After he killed Ravana, he made a wonderful funeral thing for Ravana. And so, I mean, you can see that the Lord is so kind and compassionate. He's equal to everyone, and he accepts service as you bring it. Even the prostitute, he accepted her service. Even these demons, he's accepting their service. We have to understand that Krishna will reciprocate in any way that you come to him. But our sampradaya recommends you come to the Lord in a favorable way, not in an unfavorable way like Kamsa. Although there may be sampradayas that are based in unfavorable devotional service, we're not one of them. Okay, we're in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya, and our goal is to follow in the footsteps of the great souls. So even while this battle was underway, I don't know if you remember this in the story, but it says that Vasudeva and Devaki, who are in the audience watching, were worried that Krishna and Balaram would be killed by these wrestlers, and they were weeping and worrying and wringing their hands in anxiety about the Lord. How can that be? They already saw Krishna in his four-handed form. He appeared before them in the jail cell of Kamsa, and that he became their little baby. It can be because it's Yoga Maya. Yoga Maya is that potency of the Lord that it allows the Lord to enact these different pastimes and it be real, and everybody get real benefit from these stories. If everyone was sitting around in awe and reverence, how could these relationships exist? These other five rasas, or four rasas, how could they exist if everybody was just simply sitting around in a state of awe and reverence? Krishna wouldn't have the relationship he had with Arjuna. He wouldn't have the relationship with Devaki and Vasudeva and Nanda and Yasoda. He couldn't have those relationships with the other devotees the way that it's shown in the Vedas. So everybody has to come under this illusory spell that the Lord is creating, and it's for everyone's benefit at every moment. So one thing I really like, though, it says that Tranura, his blows against Krishna, it was hitting him in the chest as hard as he could. Krishna accepted it as a flower garland. I thought that was pretty cool too. So one good thing about our devotional service, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Naha Bikrama Nasosti, Pratyavayo Navidyate, Svalpamapyasya Dharmasya, Trayate Mahtobayat. And that means that in this endeavor, of this devotional service act that we're doing, there is absolutely no loss and no diminution, and even a little advancement on this path can protect one from the most dangerous types of fear. We should always remember that verse, that whatever you put into your Krishna bank account, no one can rob it, no one can steal it. Even in the Bible, it says one should put their treasures in heaven and not on the earth, where the moth and the rust and the dust and the thieves break enter and steal and plunder. That can't be done to your devotional service. No one can take away the merit that you have gained by performing austerities on behalf of the Lord and dedicating yourself in his service. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita in 2:9, Yagyartat karmanonyatra loko yarm karma bandhana, tadartam karma kontaya mukta sangha samachara. And that means that if you don't do work for Krishna, it will bind you to the material world. But work done for Krishna is the source of your liberation. So always perform your prescribed duty for his satisfaction, and in that way, you will always remain free from bondage in the material world. And Prabhupada, I was listening to a lecture today from Srila Prabhupada, and this you might find enjoyable, Maharaj. He says, they asked him, he said, Prabhupada, how can we always, how can we control our senses? They seem more powerful than the restless wind, this and that. How is it possible? Prabhupada said, it's the easiest thing to do. And I thought, what? I've never heard Prabhupada say that one, but he said that. He said, it's so easy because all we have to do is do everything we do for Krishna, and therefore we remain free from karmic reaction and bondage. It's that simple. If you can add Krishna to everything, anything, all things. Look at these demons. They're wanting to kill Krishna. They're wanting to chop his head off. They're wanting to kill him. They don't love Krishna. They hate Krishna. And Krishna accepts that as devotional service. Isn't that amazing when you think about it? It's insane. But we do know that the senses are strong. Indriyani hi charitam, yanmano nividhiyate, tadashaharati pragyam, vayurnavam ivambasi. That means that even as you see a boat on the water is being swept away by strong winds, even one of the senses that the mind fixes on or focuses on or obsesses with can carry away the man of even scrutiny and intelligence. So we have to be careful to add Krishna as the missing ingredient to every thought, every word, every act, every sacrifice, every bite of food you eat, everything you see, you have to see Krishna. Krishna was very careful to explain that in Sankhya Yoga in the chapter. When we talk about Sankhya Yoga, the Kapila philosophy, that means to find Krishna in everything that you see. Look under every rock. Oh, here's Krishna. Oh, there's Krishna. Oh, there's Krishna. Oh, there's. So that's the idea. That's what we need. And we're not meant to disturb the minds of everybody and disencourage them or tell them they got to go do nothing. Like the Buddhist, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil, whatever. We're saying no. Use your senses in the service of the Lord. Don't be inactive. Nabudhi bedam janayed, Krishna says. Aginam karma sanginam, josiyet sarva karmani, vidvan yukta samachara. Don't disturb the mind of the ignorant and encourage them to not do anything. Just like my teacher used to say in school, if you can't do good, go stand in the corner. That's not our philosophy. Our philosophy is no, don't go stand in the corner. Stop doing bad things, but do good things in the spirit of devotion. So our goal is to encourage people in the spirit of devotion, no matter what kind of nonsense they may be involved in. We should not disturb their mind, but instead engage them in some act on behalf of the Supreme Personality. And when we do that, then people will find their final happiness in this life and in this world. So I just thought it was a beautiful thing. By the way, we didn't mention this, but did you know that the brothers of Kamsa came out to fight Krishna? How foolish. After watching the elephant be killed, all of the wrestlers be killed, the bow being broken, all of their soldiers being beaten to death with the bow, these guys don't have enough sense to flee like the rest. And instead, they come out to address Krishna and they're immediately killed in the arena by the Lord. So I thought that was pretty cool too. So his brothers also got it. And they were receiving their own karma. You know, these wives who were praying over their husbands, they were self realized. They said, look, it's your fault to Kamsa. Look what you've done by your own violence. Now it's come back to haunt you, right? But Krishna consoled the women by creating their funeral arrangements, like you mentioned, Maharaj. And I thought that was very, very cool. So when we look at these stories, one thing we can take away from this and just realize this is a potent axiom that we should never forget. And we find that in 4:11 in Bhagavad Gita. And what is the verse? Yeyata mang prapajante tangstataiva bhajamyaham mamavart manuvartante manusya parta sarvasha. When we want to know how Krishna does, he says, all of them, as they surrender to me, I reward accordingly. Everyone follows my path in all respects. So even these great demons who are being killed, they're being rewarded accordingly by the Lord. The Lord is equiposed to everyone. But he also says in Bhagavad Gita, one who acts as a friend to me, I am a friend in him. So if you want Krishna to be your friend, you have to act as a friend to Krishna. Otherwise, you can see the results of some of this other activity that is going on in these various stories. So pretty much, guys, that's what I've got for you tonight. I'll leave you with one last verse that I think you'll really like, because this verse right here tells the whole story. And it's Bahunam Janmanam Mante. Do you know this one? Janavan Mam Prapadyate. Vasudeva Sarvamiti Sa Mahatma Sadurlabha. I love this. After many, many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge, someone who truly understands, knowing me to be the cause of all causes and all that is, such a great soul is very, very rare. Now, the stories of Bhagavatam are full of these great, great souls. The Mahajanas, the Mahatmas, all these great kings and rulers. We call it great personalities in history, because Krishna says whatever great men do, common men follow, right? So we want to teach those stories to give us a roadmap of how we too can end up back home, back to Godhead. Anything else you want to add? Anybody?
I was having some thoughts there as you was talking. I was thinking of the reactions of the cowherd boys, for instance. They were they've seen Krishna and Balaram beating up all these demons all their lives, you know, every day. All their lives they've seen them, whereas now Krishna and Balaram have gone to the big city and they've taken on the big king. But you can just, and so it's like they've graduated now to the top league now to fight with the big wrestlers and the king and everything. And you can just imagine the cowherd boys. They're just, yeah, come on, Krishna, come on, Balaram, come on, and then the demigods are in amazement, and then Devaki and Vasudeva are almost losing their life through fear at their boys. And so that's obviously why Krishna didn't did it so quickly. He killed everyone so quickly with just a flick of the hand and a couple of punches, and everyone was dead. Whereas with Nishingadev and Ravana, he made a really big theatrical display of it to really please the demigods, I suppose. Who are amazed at his activities, and so I was just thinking that what the boys were how the boys were acting, and then his mother and father were almost dead with worry and fear, and so he made it really quick.
Well, look at all the wonderful things that Krishna has done so far before he even left Vrindavan. His fame has already spread to Mathura. He's the most renowned personality because these activities you're doing are beyond the capability of any person. I mean, beyond even the capabilities of Brahma and Shiva and Indra and so forth. He taught them all a lesson, didn't he? When Brahma stole the cows and the cowherd boys, Krishna taught him a lesson, didn't he? He brought that pride into line. You know, the same thing he's done these things with Shiva. He's done them, just did them with Indra, just on Govardhan Puja. We heard all about that. But what astounds me about Krishna, and it stands out in my mind more than anything else, really, is that whatever you want, if you go to Krishna for it, you'll receive merit. And if you don't go to Krishna for it, you receive your own karma. And that's a very dangerous place to be because it's a razor's edge. You can fall back down into the whirlpool, even into the lower modes of ignorance. So Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, a karma sarva karmo va, moksha karma adaradi, tivrena bhakti jogena, yajanti purusampadam. So he says, whatever you want, doesn't matter what it is. If you want all material things, you should go to Krishna for it. If you don't want any material thing, you should go to Krishna for it. If you want liberation, you should go to Krishna for it. You see what I'm saying? Whatever it is you want, you should always go, if you have broader intelligence, you should always go to Krishna for that. By all means, one should worship the supreme whole, the supreme personality of Godhead for any manifestation. So a lot of times, we go by these churches and we see all these people are turned out. Most of them are in there asking for bread, right? Give us our daily bread. Of course, they don't want just daily bread. They want a whole warehouse full of bread stored away with greed, lust, animosity, envy, all the wonderful things. But at least they're turning to Krishna for it. And even the Karmakandis, at least they're turning to Krishna for it. And Krishna's made an arrangement, it's called Varna Ashram, to bring us gradually through that process to Bhagavad Dharma. So that's the idea. And if we look in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we find the act of pure devotion where when the Lord comes, they no longer want anything but the Lord. And so that's our example. That's what we're studying. That's what we're learning to do, is have no desire other than to serve the desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through the spiritual master's instructions. And if we do that, we'll be well situated. There'll be no fear. There'll be complete peace. And it doesn't matter what happens to the world so much. People used to ask Prabhupada, what happens, Prabhupada, after the war? What happens when the bombs come? What happens when the civilizations collapse? Prabhupada said, we chant Hare Krishna. I mean, we're not doing anything differently. We're going to continue to chant. We're chanting now. We're going to chant then. Hey, everything belongs to Krishna. He can wind it up. Everything is strung on like a strand with pearls. Krishna explains that in Bhagavad Gita. You got a question, Vamsi? I see your hand.
Yes, Prabhuji, you told me to check if like who said not to not to be a devotee of Krishna? It's actually Rupa Goswami. He jokingly said, um, he says forbids worldly men to go to Keshi Ghat, saying, if you have ever even a slight desire to enjoy life with your wife, sons, relatives, and friends, then listen to my advice. Never go to Keshi Ghat in Vrindavan, even by mistake. There, Sri Govindaji is standing in his charming threefold bending form, smiling. A person who even once beholds this deity of Govinda never returns to his home, and his household life is ruined.
Ah, that's it. Thank you very much for looking that up. Vamsi, you do such great research for us. Thank you. Sometimes I hear these things and I can't remember where they're at, so it's hard for me to quote, but I appreciate you really looking that one up. There is another statement too that someone made that said, if you worship Krishna, you will lose everything. He will take away. Krishna is one who takes away. There's another comment like that, but the one that you looked at, that's a great one. I agree with that. I mean, love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you for
Yes,
looking at
I've heard his name Hari means the one who takes away. Hari. So, so it's probably from that you
that.
heard that because it's this
And I've
other.
heard that Krishna actually
Oh,
means one who takes away.
okay.
Krishna means one who takes away. So yeah, and Maharaj may know more, but the beauty of it is we want our Maya taken away. Uh,
Mhm.
we don't mind being in Yoga Maya and being a part of Krishna's a greater play.
Yeah.
That's fine. But never let us forget. It's like we said the prayers of Bhishma, a Bhishma Panchka yesterday. We read those wonderful prayers from Srimad Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, and I think it starts at verses like 18 through about 40, where he fixes his mind completely on the Lord while he's laying there fasting for the last 5 days, and Arjuna, the Pandavas come before him. He gives full discourse in that situation on Bhagavad Dharma. And then, of course, now he is in Dasharas, apparently, because he sees the Lord in his forearm form, and that's his mood. So he's going to Vaikuntha after this pastime was finished. And he also made the Lord break his promise by grabbing the wheel weapon and so forth and so on. Such a wonderful, wonderful thing. Hard to keep a dry eye when you read what Bhishma had to say to Krishna as he was focusing on the Lord when he drew his last breath. Wonderful, wonderful story.
Yes. So actually, these last 5 days of Kartik month is the Bhishma Panchak, right? The 5 days that he's ready to leave his body, but I think he leaves only after 60 days. But now he's preparing for these last 5 days by fasting, etc. So I was hoping like I could share the screen and
Oh,
you.
you can? I didn't
Uh,
know you wanted to do that. Go ahead.
um, if you could, I was looking at this. It's not allowing me to. It says the host isn't allowing sharing for this.
I'll let you, but you got to ask again. You got to request.
Uh, yeah, when I click it, it says the host is not allowing. Let me give you this link on the chat. Maybe whoever can share can bring this up because I saw this nice English a poem written by Parivadi Das from New Zealand. And I wanted to put you on the spot, Gayatri Prabhu. When you read this, you might come up with a tune that I'd like to learn from you and sing it. Uh,
Well, I don't know how to do that exactly. I'm not so. I see the thing. Let me press it and see what happens. Maybe it'll come up on the screen. I don't know. I've pressed it. I
y-
was willing to give you. I thought you accidentally had requested that, but I guess not.
oh,
Huh?
no.
Here we go. Can you see my screen? Here it is. You see it?
Uh, I
I,
don't see the screen. You have to share. Like there's a share button down there.
okay. It says
And
like a fallen demigod. I've gone off the main screen. I can read it to you if you'd
yeah,
like.
yes.
It says, and this is like a fallen demigod, official name, passing away of
Bhishma.
Bhishma, through its Parvati Dasa wrote this apparently. The lyrics are, and I'll read there's 6 verses. It says, like a fallen demigod on the ground, great Bhishma Dev, the name, lying on a bed of arrows about to pass away. Krishna and the 5 Pandavas came to the battlefield along with all great souls of the universe. They sorrowfully kneeled. Verse 2, Narada, Vyas, Sukadev, and Lord Parshuram stood around the grandsire warrior and lay completely calm. He spoke to all the saints and kings and to Yudhisthira. But Lord Sri Krishna is supreme, but most were unaware. The beauty of the Lord's eyes beamed like the rising sun, appeared before great Bhishma Dev, whose final hour had come. While he instructed ruling laws unto King Yudhisthira, the sun ran its course into the northern hemisphere. At such, when mystics depart at their own will, and Bhishma's pure desire was finally fulfilled. Praying to Lord Krishna, who had vented on this earth, Bhishma showed how pure devotion saves one from rebirth. He thought of how Lord Krishna had traversed the battlefield and how he held a shot of arrows to shatter Krishna's shield. Taking up the will to protect his friend, Arjuna, Krishna challenged Bhishma just as the final conch shell blew. At last, Bhishma fixed his mind upon the super soul, and as his breathing stopped, he attained the highest goal. Everyone was silent like the birds at the end of the day, while to the transcendental realm, great Bhishma passed away.
Haribol.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Evergreen song was sung. There's a devotee in New Zealand that wrote this song.
Yes. So I was hoping you can read it and put a tune to it.
Sure, it's possible. Yeah, send it to me on my phone number if you don't mind. That way I'll have access to it a little better.
Yes, I've sent it to you on WhatsApp.
Okay, do that.
Yes.
All right, guys. Well, how wonderful. How wonderful. And Ramesh, he's here. I don't see him, but I see.
Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam.
Haribol!
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Good to have you, Ramesh. Bring everyone with you to these classes. These are very, very wonderful stories about Krishna. Everyone should hear, everyone should know, everyone should memorize, everyone should think of these stories again and again and again because they're all auspicious and they provide the actual cure for birth and death, old age and disease and suffering in the material world. And they deliver us back home, back to Godhead.
Agree, Prabhu. I will do that. Harimo.
So if you don't mind, please pray for Gayatri Das. As usual, I always need your prayers, and I would greatly appreciate that. And in closing, I would like to ask you all to accept my humble obeisances and all glories to His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, and chant with me, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama,
Rama.
Hare
Hare
Rama.
Rama, Rama Rama, Hare.
Rama.
All right. So, guys, I'm going to end the class at this point if I can figure out how to open up my screen again. I don't know how I did this. Vamsi, you're the technician here. One of these days, you're going to have to come over and show me how to operate this thing. But I'm doing pretty good, I have to admit. We're doing this now for 2 or 3 years. I haven't messed it up too bad, but I'm having a hard time getting back to my original tab
Oh, if you
since I opened up that.
if you hit zoom on, if you have an icon somewhere, and then it should show back up.
Hang on, let's see what happens here. No, I don't. I really don't. I don't even see how to turn it off at this point.
Maybe we can all leave.
Okay, why don't everybody just? You guys, I'll figure out how to turn it off later. But I went to the link and it worked. I could have shared the screen, but I thought you had hit that in accident. You didn't ask me first, so I didn't open it up for you. I apologize, Prabhu. But next time, just let me know in advance, okay?
Sure.
All right. Have a great evening, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Bo.
Very well.